This podcast is sponsored by the Fireman Moving Company. The Fireman Moving Company is the official moving company of WKU Athletics. Not only can they be trusted to move all the coaches in and out of Western, but they can move you anywhere nationwide. The Fireman Company is owned and operated by firemen and is founded by WKU alumni. If you're looking to move sometime soon, give them a call at 270-791-1755 and get yourself a free quote. Welcome to Topper Talk, your number one Western Kentucky athletics podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Moffitt, and I'm joined by co-host Tyler Bailey. Hilltopper Nation, whether it's happening on the hill or on the road, grab those red towels, stand up and cheer, because it's up next on Topper Talk. All right, welcome back, and thank you for downloading and listening to another episode of the Topper Talk podcast. We are the official podcast of the Red Towel Trust Collective, and we're a proud member of the College Huddle podcast community. As always, feel free to follow us on all our social media platforms if you're not already. Head over to our YouTube channel, subscribe there. Feel free to comment and rate and review any and every episode. And I've got Tyler here with me, man. We've got a fun victory recap to dive into, and then a preview for homecoming, man. You ready to get started?
Yeah, man, let's dive on into it, boy.
But before we do that, we have to get caught up with our Red Towel wrap-up, which is brought to us by Trent Bedding Company and gets us caught up on all the WKU athletics we've missed since we last recorded. So let's get a word from Trent.
Don't forget your headboard, pillows, and your sheets. We got everything you need for a good night's sleep. Number one on the same check, best of Bowling Green.
All right. Hey! Twins, full, queen and king. Mattresses for anything. Come and pick it out and we can bring it to your house. Have you sleeping real good before the weekend's out. Trent Bedding. It's just like a mattress store. Hey.
Oh, all right. So let's kick it off with football. Easton Messer, he's named to the Bullsworth Trophy nominee.
Yeah, really cool honor for Easton. That is a nominee that goes to any former walk-on that's now excelling, as a non-walk-on, but just really highlights where he came from, the hard work he's put in, and just how fast his career is just taking off here, in just his second full-time season here. So congratulations to Easton. Easton, definitely a well-deserved nomination.
Now we're going to kick it over to soccer. You see what I did there? A little pun. Maddie Davis, she was named Conference USA Goalkeeper of the Year. That's awesome.
Yeah, soccer had its moments this year. I guess we had some troubles scoring as many goals as we would have liked. But luckily, we had a defense, and the back end of that defense, we had a goalkeeper that just had a ton of clean sheets, a lot of saves this year, had a lot of shutouts, and did her thing back on that back line. Congratulations to her. That's a huge honor, and for the soccer program, and hopefully, that translates into future success as we move forward.
Going to go over to volleyball. They beat Sam Houston State 3-0 on Friday and 3-0 on Saturday. So sweep there. Abby Schaefer, she surpassed 1,000 career digs, and Kaylee Cox, she was named Conference USA Offensive Player of the Week for her performance.
Yeah, and again, these victories were without Travis Hudson and Craig Berry, head coach and assistant head coach, who are out, still recovering from surgery, from their separate injuries. So Jenna Otek and crew still just doing what they do, sweeping Conference USA opponents. I believe that's now 90 consecutive regular season conference victories, which is just borderline unfathomable. Going back 5 years of just consecutive domination in this Conference USA. Then add to that Abby Schaefer surpassing 1,000 career digs, amazing. Kaylee Cox, preseason player of the year, was named offensive player of the week for the fourth time this season. And with those two victories, WKU volleyball clinched at least a share of the Conference USA regular season title. So it's just what they do. I said death, taxes, and volleyball titles, three guarantees in life. And that's what Travis Hudson and Jenna Otek and the WKU volleyball program just continues to do.
Going on to the women's basketball team, they absolutely took Kentucky State behind the woodshed and whipped them 104-49.
Yeah, I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of our women's basketball team early in this season. Obviously, it's just a couple games in, but that sample has yielded some really good and positive results. The last couple of years have just kind of been up and down, kind of streaky at times. Some depth issues with the roster, some injuries at times, just lacking that big body. And it just seems like this year, maybe Coach Collins has brought in the right pieces to help us turn that corner and be competitive in Conference USA, which on the women's basketball side is really competitive. Middle Tennessee is a top 25, type program. They make noise in the conference and NCAA tournament. Liberty is a good women's team, but Western historically has always been right there. We've had a couple down years, but I really like what I see so far from the team in the non-conference slate, and I hope we keep that moving going forward.
We got to talk about some bad news. Men's basketball, of course, they lost to Grand Canyon 72-74.
Yeah, that was a tough game. We knew that when it was scheduled, with that WAC alliance that we had, that Western Atlantic Conference, that is they're not WAC, but yeah, they're a good team. I mean, they were an NCAA tournament team last year. Granted, they were playing without their best player in Tyon Grant Foster, who is a preseason All-American. But we were still on their home court. We were also playing without a good player. Projected starter Tegan Moore didn't play in that game. They had a heck of an environment there. If you got to watch that game on TV, I mean, their student section is right along the sideline on the TV side. Kind of had almost like a mini, Duke Cameron indoor stadium type feel. Just a really loud and hostile and just into it, engaged, standing and cheering the whole time. Really good test for our team. Really felt good about how we played. It felt like we led and controlled a lot of that game. We got down to the last 5 minutes of the game with a pretty comfortable lead. We took the air out of the ball a little bit, slowed the game down, try to make it less possessions and bleed that clock out. And ultimately, that ended up being our demise as Grand Canyon got the ball back, with under 30 seconds left and a chance to take the lead or win the game there, and went down and made a tough layup. With basically no time on the clock. We had a 3/4 court heave to try to win the game, but it was just a heck of an atmosphere, a heck of a game. It was a tough challenge. It is less than ideal to start the season 0-2. A tough loss to Wichita State where we performed well but came up short. Now a tough loss to Grand Canyon. And then if you're looking at the exhibition match with UAB, we've lost 3 really tough games to start this season. But this is what everyone asked for. Last season, our non-conference schedule, we went 11-3. But Wichita State was our toughest game, and they were a down program last year. Whereas this year, they've really stepped up and added a lot of good pieces, and they're going to be a tough team in the American this season. So, I hate to lose this game, but I really think this is the type of game that's going to make us tougher and make us better moving forward into non-conference play. And then, when we get Tegan Moore back and he just adds to this roster and we get into Conference USA play, I think we're going to be, hitting on all cylinders and really seeing the full potential of this team and what this season could be. Tyler, what do you think about the game? It was a tough one for sure, but I still think there were positives to take away from it.
Oh yeah, definitely positives. And you're right. The environment over there seemed crazy, seems chaotic. I kind of wish we could do something like that at Diddle on a more consistent basis. But really, I think where we lost this game at was at the free throw line. Grand Canyon, they shot 29 free throws. We only and they hit 22. We only shot 13, but we hit 8. But I mean, if you're giving up 22 extra points for free, basically, that's terrible, especially if you're only getting that kind of ratio, for them, for us. Our 3-point defense was great, 4-17 for Grand Canyon. They shot 40% from the field, 24-60. Turnovers, we had 16. Some of them looked like just a little player was kind of off kilter. Maybe wasn't thinking what the passer was doing. But I do like that we fought, and I do think we are going to get better from this. But you're right, this is a tough one to lose. And I kind of wish we could have been more aggressive with it. Kind of like what Stansbury used to say. He's like, we're going to shoot more free throws than they attempt, or we're going to hit more free throws than they attempt. It kind of backfired on us and kind of reversed on us this time. But I feel like Hank will get us back on the right track. I have faith in him. I'm not down on these guys. I think the team, the future is bright, and I think they will get better. But it is just kind of disheartening to start the season 0-2 though.
Yeah, I think our best basketball is definitely ahead of us, and I'm encouraged by how we played. And like you said, those free throws, that disparity was kind of crazy. It's not what we're used to. Caught home cooking, caught whatever. The foul count wasn't that crazy of a disparity, but nearly every foul that they received was a shooting foul for them. They were going to the free throw line a lot, whereas we weren't going to the free throw line as much. So, it is what it is. You lose a tough game. And, I really like that our 3-point defense was much better, whether that was our defense or they were just missing them. I don't know. But hopefully that's something that can continue as we roll forward. We have Campbellsville coming up this week. So we would like to get things back on track. I'm really encouraged by what I see, from several of our players on the court this year. So I think, this team's going to be just fine. Don't jump off the train. Don't freak out. Don't hit the panic button. Don't do all those things. It's early in the season. This team has a tough non-conference schedule. Todd Stewart said it recently in the New Mexico State preview episode for the football game. They do a podcast, and he said, maybe the out-of-conference record isn't as pretty this year, but this team's going to be tested and battle hardened and ready to go by the time we get to Conference USA play, and hopefully turn that into another tournament type run. So I'm here for it. I'm ready for it.
Now, we started with football. We're going to end with football. Lucas Canario, he was named Conference USA Special Teams Player of the Week.
Yeah, that's preseason Special Teams Player of the Year, Lucas Canario, Mr. Automatic, Mr. Legatron, whatever you want to call him. Since that season opening miss versus Alabama has been perfect on the season, has shown a lot of range. I think he hit a 53, 54 yarder in this game against New Mexico State. There, we're about to recap, and it had plenty of leg on it. So really impressed by what the sophomore kicker is doing, having a really good season, and earned that Special Teams Player of the Week.
And that concludes this week's Red Towel Wrap-Up, brought to you by the Trent Bedding Company. Moth, back to you.
Yeah, so really good recap as always. Good stuff going on and all of the WKU winter sports going on now. But we do have a football game versus New Mexico State to recap. Went down this past Saturday. It was New Mexico State's homecoming. While I guess the October midweek, midweek games, I guess kind of forced their hand if they wanted a Saturday homecoming. I guess it just kind of landed to us that we were their first November home game. They selected us for homecoming. Bad decision. Like we said in the preview, Diego Pavia is not walking through that door. He is in Nashville at Vanderbilt now and having a heck of a season, quite frankly. That kid could play. But WKU went to Las Cruces and walked out of there with a 41-28 victory. WKU now moves to 7-2 on the season. We are 5-0 in conference, while New Mexico State drops to 2-7 overall, and they are 1-5 in Conference USA play. They, for how we highlighted the struggles of the New Mexico State offense coming into this game, they sure did bring their running game to this game against us this week, and I don't think we expected that, or at least that we would be so susceptible to it. We had been pretty stout on defense all year since that Alabama game, but New Mexico State, they had to lean on what they could do well. We talked about they had a kind of a rotating door at quarterback, didn't know who or what to expect there, but we knew that whoever they played wasn't very efficient in that position. So they did have a couple running backs that were very capable, and could get some yardage for them. And they, that was one positive for them. If they want to take something away from this game, they were very successful in the run game. However, turnovers just doomed them, and their ability to compete in this game. And, we were able to hold on and get just a convincing victory, and again, maintain hold on, what is, potentially a Conference USA championship appearance. We have our fate in our hands, continue winning these ball games, and we control our destiny. So, Tyler, what are your overall thoughts on this game and just how it played out in New Mexico?
Well, I felt like the game was pretty much in hand for the majority of it, except for the third quarter, and I was just hoping to get out of the third quarter alive, because it seemed like everything that could go wrong was going wrong. Their running backs, Mike Washington and Seth McGowan, hats off to them, because they played, especially Washington, he played out of his mind. He's such a good runner. Their quarterbacks, they were some of our best, offensive players sometimes. You had 2 interceptions, 3 fumbles. It's definitely hard to overcome a 5 turnover. If you dig yourself 5 turnovers, you probably ain't gonna come out of that. I did think that we would hold them to less than 28 points, and I think before the game, if you take out, I think Alabama, we were only allowing 15 points per game, but now I looked at it and it's showing we're allowing 22 points per game. So, it's kind of crazy how that happened, but our defense is still playing great, still doing good. I think they just I think they weren't expecting, Mike Washington to do what he did, but I'm glad we came out with a win. Never schedule us for homecoming, and I'm done saying there's no ball hawks on New Mexico team. I'm done saying it. I'm officially retiring it tonight, and I will never say that about New Mexico State again, because they always just got to make me eat my words, and I'm tired of it.
Yeah, heck of a ball game. Roller coaster of a game. We started fast. Want to jump into the scoring summary and just how it broke down and how it happened. We opened the game, marching straight down the field, and threw a 54-yard touchdown pass to Easton Messer to go up 7-0. Made New Mexico punt, get the ball back, and Caden Veltkamp goes down and has a 1-yard touchdown run to make it 14-0. New Mexico State was able to get a 1-yard touchdown run themselves, make it 14-7. And then Keyshawn Johnson had that 51-yard touchdown pass from Dalvin Smith to make it 21-7. You love to see that DP, that double pass, Dr. Pepper, whatever you want to call it, trick play. Whenever we dial that one up, it seems to have a lot of success. But Dalvin, perfect 1-for-1, 51 yards and a touchdown pass, put us up 21-7. Then Lucas Canero hit a 42-yard field goal as the time expired in the first half to put us up 24-7 at halftime. Then, like you said, that third quarter lull, we've talked about that for a few games now in previews and recaps. Just seems like we get that big lead. We go into halftime with a solid game, and what looks like, I don't want to say we can cruise to victory, but we just need to keep on doing what we're doing. 24-7, multiple score lead. We come out in the third quarter and we just need to keep doing what we're doing. Instead, we come out and New Mexico State scores a 3-yard touchdown run to get 24-14. They get the ball back. They score on a 7-yard touchdown run to make it 24-21. Just like that, it's a 1-score game. Luckily, we get the ball back. Caden Veltkamp goes down and has another rushing touchdown from 3 yards out to put us up 31-21. And then in the fourth quarter, Katie Hutchinson had a 28-yard touchdown reception to put us up 38-21. Then Lucas Canero, or Special Teams Player of the Week, Lucas Canero hit a 53-yard field goal to put us up 41-21. And then a garbage time touchdown for New Mexico State from 29 yards out. Finished the scoring put us at the final score of 41-28. And just a game that was in hand early for Western Kentucky. I think both of us in the preview for this game said we need to start fast, get out on offense and be aggressive and do what we do. And that's what we did. It's exactly what we did. Scored on our first 3 possessions of the game. We're up 21-7, and then 24-7 going into half, and look to have this game easily in control. But then that third quarter, for whatever it is, adjustments or just slowing the game down, not being as aggressive, whatever it is, I'm not sure what it is. But we're not scoring points in the third quarter like we need to, or like we need to continue to do. And it's crazy because we still put up 41 points. I mean, that's a good offensive output that, is going to win a lot of ball games. But, like we've said, a majority of the season, it feels like we're leaving meat on the bone, not playing complete football games offensively, and can just continue to improve with this offense just by being more consistent. Obviously you can't go and score every single drive. That's not realistic. That's not going to happen. But the third quarter has just been our Achilles heel for a lot of this season. We go into halftime feeling good. Third quarter slows down. Fourth quarter, we pull back away and win the ball game. So I'll take a victory by 1 or 100 or 13, whatever it ends up being. But there's always positives and negatives to take from every game. And I think as this season continues to roll on, if we want to be in that championship hunt, we have to play more consistent and closer to 60 minutes of football consistently, and just put more points up on the board. 41 is great. Luckily, it didn't come to bite us, but I don't think we're going to have opponents with 5 turnovers every single game either. So definitely a factor. Tyler, what were your thoughts just offensively and just how this game flowed?
Well, for 3 quarters, it flowed definitely in our favor. That's no secret. I felt like they, Caden had great completion to attempts, 67.6%. The run game was there for us. Off the receivers were great. That pass from Dalvin Smith to Keyshawn Johnson, I mean, chef's kiss. Dalvin definitely is one hell of a player. I just feel like that third quarter, like you said, we don't know what it is. I don't know if they're taking their eyes off the prize or what, but it just seems like that and run defense have been our Achilles heel. If we get those 2 things fixed on, I think we'd be great. Definitely wouldn't be thinking about, worrying about none of these next 3 teams we're playing. But I mean, I'm not going to complain about 41 points. It is great. I do wish we had, maybe 2 scores more or 17 more points that we could have scored up there in the third quarter. I'm not saying that would have happened, but hey, I mean, we were turning them over, seemed like at will. Their quarterback couldn't help but throw it to our players, or they was coughing it up. So, yeah, I mean, I think the offense played great in this game. And you're right, we're not going to score on every possession. A man can dream, though, and it would be dope if we could. But other than that, I ain't got nothing bad to say about this offense.
Yeah, let's talk about the offensive leaders in this football game. Statistically, as a team, we had 413 total yards of offense. Pretty good. Can't complain about that. Our leading passer was Caden Veldkamp, 18 out of 27, 246 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and also added 2 rushing touchdowns. Elijah Young was our leading rusher. He had 16 attempts for 74 yards. Caden Veldkamp also added 11 rushes for 25 yards and those 2 touchdowns. Keyshawn Johnson was our leading wide receiver, 5 receptions for 88 yards and 1 touchdown. And then Katie Hutchinson had 4 receptions for 73 yards and a touchdown. Easton Messer had 4 catches for 69 yards and a touchdown. Very nice. And then Lucas Canero, 2 out of 2 on field goals, 5 out of 5 on extra points, perfect night kicking. And then Cole Maynard, back on the positive side of 40 yards, had 4 total punts for a 40.3 yard average. 3 of those were inside the 20-yard line. So back doing Cole Maynard things. Really like to see that. Tyler, what about the offensive standouts? And did anybody jump out at you?
Well, you know, the most efficient quarterback we have, I think, on the season is Dalvin Smith. You know, in this game, he was 100%. He is that dude. You know, Elijah Young played great. Caden Velkamp wasn't scared to go and get them yardage that needed to get got. Also rushed in for 2 TDs, like you said. George Hart, you know, he had 5 carries for 16 yards, but he also had 2 receptions for 26 yards. So it's good to see him getting more numbers as the season progresses. I feel like he is that power back that we need if we need the short yardage, or if he can just run over and he did it in games, just truck some defender and continue going on down the field. You know, I'm here for it on that. Elvin Fafona, he got his first reception as a Hilltopper. I'm glad to see that for a local boy. I'm definitely glad to see him get that. And you're right, Lucas Canario doing Lucas Canario things, and Cole Maynard. I mean, I think it may had something to do with the elevation that he was playing at. You know, was able to get them punts going a little bit farther, but I am not going to complain about it. It's good to see him have a long 49 yards, because last few games he has been kind of slipping. They've definitely been a lot shorter than what they have been. But, you know, I think the offense played absolutely great, like I stated before.
Yeah, I'm looking at the defensive side of things. Our WKU defense allowed 460 yards of offense, including 331 rushing yards. Not ideal on either one of those fronts, but our defense did force and capitalize on 5 total turnovers by New Mexico State. 3 of those were by fumble, 2 of those were by interception. Anthony Brackenridge was our leading tackler. He had 8. Sebastian Benjamin and Jose Wheeler each had 7 tackles. AJ Johnson had one of our interceptions, and Dallas Walker had the other one. And then we had fumble recoveries were by Dave Herrard, Devontae Matthews, and Hosea Wheeler. So again, a pretty tough game for the defense as far as yards allowed, and getting just a little bit gashed by their run game. We kind of knew that's what they would lean heavily on, but we were out there forcing turnovers, getting the ball back. You know, it's hard for them to score or outscore us if they don't have the ball. And that's just kind of how this game whittled down to. You know, they couldn't score enough points because they couldn't hold on to the ball. So, Tyler, what are your thoughts on this defense and how we performed against New Mexico State?
It's always good to see a big man INT, right? You know, I just had left work when Dallas Walker got that interception, and you know, for him on the D line to get that, it's awesome. I feel like if there was a chance to get a turnover, we mostly did it. You know, their quarterbacks, you know, one was throwing 50%, 10 to 20 for 129 yards. Really, the thing that killed us was Mike Washington and Seth McGowan. It seemed like they had no answer for him. It seemed like they was always mostly getting big yards. I know Mike Washington, he was able to cut some, go right down the field. I mean, it was impressive to watch. But I feel like did hold them to 21 points, really, you know, with that one in garbage time. But I feel like what we was going up against, and you got to think every team that we're going to be playing now, La Tech, Jack State, Liberty, they probably going to watch them because they have put up the most points on us since Bama, I think. I mean, they're definitely going to want to see what they can do to be able to do that. And I know what Jack State's going to do. They've been doing it all season, run. But I feel like our defense will be able to get up to them. It's just good to see. And it seemed like everyone was mostly even. There wasn't one with a lot more tackles than any other players. You know, Anthony Brackenridge, 8 total tackles. Sebastian Benjamin, 7. Jose Wheeler, 7. Devontae Matthews, 6. Dallas Walker, 5. Terrence Ellis, 5. And then there's like 4 guys who had 4 total tackles. So it was good to see everyone kind of chipping in and getting in the love on it. But, you know, defense did hold them 28 points. Gave up way too many yards though. You're right, 400 something yards total yards. That's crazy. That is not good. But if we can keep them without scoring, give up the yards without scoring, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, now let's jump into some key indicators for this game, which is a little bit of a mixed bag considering what the final score ended up. But one of these kind of paints the picture for what happened and why this game went to WKU's favor. Total yards, WKU 413, New Mexico State 460, favored New Mexico State. First downs, WKU had 17, New Mexico State had 24. So again, favors New Mexico State. Third downs, we're almost exactly even. WKU 9 out of 15, New Mexico State 9 out of 16. Turnovers, though, this is the big one that kind of tipped the scales our way. WKU had 2 with those 2 Caden Velkamp interceptions. New Mexico State had 5 with those fumbles and interceptions. And that's really kind of the story of the game. Several times looked us with short fields. That's why we don't have as many yards. That's why we don't have as many first downs. Third downs were basically even. Penalties, we had 1 for 10 yards. They had 1 for 5 yards. So just not a very penalized called game. And then time of possession, us 30 minutes and 30 seconds, them 29 minutes and 30 seconds. So almost even across the board. If they could just not cough the ball up 5 different times between interceptions and fumbles. So, they came into this game, knowing that Diego Pavia is not walking through that door, like we've said several times now, previewing and talking about this game. And they just shot themselves in the foot. It was their homecoming game. They're in that role, that position of playing spoiler now as the season comes down to an end. And really, they just, you got to take better care of the ball. If we're on the road, anytime against coming up at the end of the season, if we're on the road and we cough the ball up 3, 4, 5 times, it's going to be tough to win that ball game. And that's kind of the position they put themselves in by not having good ball security or throwing interceptions. So let's jump into some grades for this game. Tyler, what do you got for the offense versus New Mexico State?
Putting up 41 points. I do wish we would have had more total yardage, but I'm not going to complain about that since we are getting over 100 yards rushing. Now I feel like last 2 seasons we wasn't having a lot of games with over 100 yards rushing. So I'm going to give them an A.
I'm going a little bit lighter. I'm going to go a B plus, and that's only because of the third quarter lull. I just want to see the foot stay on the gas, the foot stay on the throat, whatever you want to call it. I just want to see a little bit more aggression in the third quarter. I love 41 points, but I think there's more there to be gotten for this team and for this offense and for this season as we, are chasing a championship now. It's feels like we're kind of in playoff mode with the games we have coming up with Tech, Jacksonville State, and Liberty. We need to win these games and have the tiebreakers and hopefully get to host the championship game and put ourselves in position to win that and have a good bowl game. So still a good performance. I'll give them a B plus. What about your defensive grade?
I'll give them a B plus. I mean, it can be an A. You did give up 331 yards of rushing offense. Now, granted, you did only hold them to 129 yards passing, but their quarterback is garbage. Santiano Marucci, to me, he ain't no good. Brandon Nunez, he was a Russian quarterback. So, yeah, I mean, granted, they did come up with 5 turnovers, and I'm really happy about that. But you can't give up 331 yards rushing on the ground. That's terrible. So, yeah.
I'm going to go with a flat B, kind of for the same reason you said. I'm really happy about 5 turnovers. I think our defense needs to continue to be aggressive and force turnovers and capitalize on those when we do get the ball on the ground or a chance for an interception. But like you said, we did give up 460 yards of offense, 330 yards plus of rushing yards. And I think we have teams left on our schedule that are going to see that game tape and be licking their chops a little bit like, okay, the blueprint is there. We just need to not cough the ball up and have chances to go down and score. And this could be a ball game. So still a respectable grade. I'll give them a B. Obviously a little bit to clean up there and try to grow and get better from, but still, a good effort and a good game overall. What about your grade for special teams?
Special teams, I'm gonna give them. Dang it! I gotta hit that mute button. Sorry, it I don't know it's coming. It just kind of sneaks up on me. I'm gonna give them an A. Lucas came out there, 2 for 2, 5 for 5 on extra points, 2 for 2 on field goals. And Cole was bombing it down the field again like he was earlier in the season. So I'm gonna give them an A.
Yeah, special teams is an easy A. Also had some good returns from Easton. I didn't write down the yardage, but he had some good kick returns. Punting was back to where it needs to be. Lucas Canario, perfect on his kick. So again, special teams just needs to not hurt us, not put us in bad field position. Just continue to flip the field, make your kicks, and do their job. And that's what they did. They get an A. What about the coaching grade?
See, coaching grade to me is probably going to be. Let's see. It was a good game plan. I'm going to put third. I probably shouldn't put third quarter on them, but coming out of halftime, you should have your team dialed in. You should know which game plan is going to be. Now, granted, games change there, but I mean, it seemed like that whole third quarter we were right behind the 8 ball. We couldn't do nothing right. And it didn't seem like the coaches it seemed like they kind of took the quarter off. Yeah, I don't know. I shouldn't be that angry at it, but dude, I was kind of scared whenever it got up 21-24. We had been dominating them, and it just kind of started slipping away. And I was like, oh man, I seen this last year. So I kind of had flashbacks. But yeah, I'm going to give the coaches a B-.
Yeah, I'm gonna give them a flat B. I think they had a good game plan. I think just sometimes in the heat of the moment, it gets tough to adjust. And they had a really good rushing attack, and they leaned on that, and they executed. And they did what they needed to do, just not well enough, and didn't put up enough points to win that game. So coaching wise, I give our staff a B. Still a solid, convincing victory for me. What about your overall grade versus New Mexico State?
I'm going to say it's probably going to be a B, B plus on this one. Overall, great game, good game. And like I said earlier, it was never in doubt to me, except for that third quarter. That was the only time that I was ever really nervous in this game. The rest of the time, it was gravy. So yeah, B plus.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm gonna give them a B as well. I think even listening to Coach Helton and the coordinators in their Monday press availability. I mean, they're the harshest critics of their team and their performance. They are going to take all the positive things we're talking about, and they're going to analyze the negative things, the missed plays and execution and leaving points off the board and missed assignments on defense that led to big runs and those big gash plays and chunk plays that help them put points on the board. That's what their job is to do, is to tighten down on where we didn't execute and didn't perform to our best. And I still think we have a room to grow offensively and defensively, and I think we have seen improvement and we've seen better consistency on both sides of the ball from this team. But we have to continue moving that way as we hope to reach the championship game. So real excited, obviously for that, and obviously to get another victory as we look forward to now our next game versus Louisiana Tech for homecoming week. So this Saturday, November 16th, we have Louisiana Tech coming to town for homecoming. It is an 11 a.m. kickoff. The game will be on CBS Sports Network. The homecoming theme is the Roaring Red. WKU enters the game at 7-2 overall. We are 5-0 in conference. Louisiana Tech is 3-6 overall, 2-4 in conference play. Their head coach is Sonny Cumbie. We should all be pretty familiar with that name. One, because Louisiana Tech hiring him from Texas Tech a couple years ago is what opened the door for us to lose offensive coordinator Zach Kitley to Texas Tech. That's his alma mater. After that incredible Bailey Zappi record-breaking year, that was the one job in America that we didn't need to open, and the dominoes fell. Sonny Cumbie was the offensive coordinator there and got a chance to be hired at Louisiana Tech, took that job, and I think we all knew it, that Zach Kitley was probably gone. He was going back home. Nobody blames him. Wish him the best of luck there. He's been there for a few years now. And Sonny Cumbie is, off of back-to-back 3-9 seasons for Louisiana Tech. They're at 3 wins so far this year with a few games left to go. Bowl eligibility still within reach, but doesn't look likely. The all-time series with Louisiana Tech is tied at 5 games apiece. We won last year in 2023. We won that game 35-28. And I think what most will remember as being the Malachi Corley game, he had 3 receiving touchdowns that game, including that sideline scamper where he just absolutely ran over a dude. And if you watch his highlight tapes before the NFL draft, they showed a lot of Louisiana Tech highlights, and Malachi Corley was that dude. And hopefully, we're still watching him with the Jets, and hopefully he continues to get opportunities there. In this game for homecoming, we enter as 13.5 point favorites with an over-under of 52.5 if you're into that sort of thing, betting-wise. The ESPN matchup predictor really likes WKU to win this game. We have an 81.1% chance compared to only 18.9% chance for Louisiana Tech. So, Tyler, jump in here. Give me your view from 30,000 feet. What does this game look like on paper for you?
Well, I think it looks like a WKU victory, but I don't think it's going to be easy because La Tech, they, as you said, it's not likely that they're going to get conference or bowl eligibility, but they're fighting for their lives to get it. So, they say the most dangerous animal is one that's cornered. And, if you have the opportunity to get it, you're going to be fighting every game, every possession to win that game. So, like I said, I think La Tech's probably going to come out ready to fight, ready to throw some fists. And I think Western better be prepared for a tough game because I think that's exactly what they're going to come in because they probably already viewed as a disrespect that we're playing, that they're our homecoming game. So you add that with fighting for bowl eligibility, I think this is going to be a tough game, man.
Yeah, looking at Louisiana Tech, they come into this game averaging 23 points per game. Looking at their offense in general, they average almost a 2-to-1 ratio in first downs via pass versus run. We faced a lot of run-heavy teams recently, it feels like, but this is kind of that complete opposite team. They have 94 first downs via the pass and 57 via the run. So this is a team that I expect to come out throwing the ball, spreading the ball out a little bit more than what we've seen the last few weeks. Their third down conversion percentage is 43.45. So again, not terrible, almost, pushing 50%, converting third downs, keeping drives going. They're averaging 250 yards passing per game, 102 yards rushing per game, but only 2.7 yards per carry. So again, more than 2-to-1 there, passing to rushing, not a very good rushing average. This is a team that wants to throw the ball. They have 16 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, and they've allowed 31 sacks on the season. They have 18 total fumbles, with 11 of those being lost. They're -6 in turnovers. I really think that could be an emphasis, for our defense and for our game plan, is just to continue to apply that pressure and try to force turnovers. Looking at their stat leaders for the season, their leading passer is quarterback Evan Bullock. He is number 7. He is a 6'5", 212-pound freshman. He's 123 out of 185 for 66.5% completion percentage, 1,452 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Not a bad stat line. Just, he's a freshman, and he's going to make some freshman mistakes at times. So one to keep an eye out for. Their leading rusher is number 22, Omari Wiggins. He is a 5'10", 202-pound sophomore. He has 74 carries, 281 yards, and 1 touchdown. That's a 3.8 yard per carry average. Then our leading wide receivers are number 16, True Edwards. He's a 6'3", 201-pound senior. 52 catches, leads the team, 708 yards, leads the team, 6 touchdowns, leads the team, a 13.6 yard per catch average. And then a familiar name as their second wide receiver, number 6, Jimmy Holiday, transferred in the offseason from Western to Louisiana Tech. He's a 6'1", 211-pound senior. He has 26 catches for 310 yards and a touchdown, 11.9 yard per catch average. And then he also has 33 rushes for 157 yards and 4 rushing touchdowns, a 4.8 yard per carry average. And then lastly, they have a tight end, number 84, Eli Finley, big body, big target, 6'6", 244-pound sophomore, 20 catches for 264 yards and a touchdown. Tyler, I have to ask, what are your thoughts? I mean, statistically, not a bad offense, just not scoring a lot of points and winning ball games. So, they feel like a team that could put it together. They've just been inconsistent in their results. So, what are your thoughts on this Louisiana Tech offense?
Well, Evan Bullock, he himself has 23 sacks. So, if our defensive line linebackers want to tee off on somebody, I feel like this could be the dude to do it, because they're very susceptible to it. And also, Jimmy Holiday is also their second leading rusher. He has 33 carries for 157 yards, averaging 4.8, long of 29, and he has 4 touchdowns. So, they might be running jet sweeps with him whenever they get down in the red zone, but to me, that's kind of wild that they're using him as a wide receiver, or as a running back, or as a rusher. But I mean, he is very, very successful at it. So there's no hate towards him. I hate that we lost him, but if he's down there and he's doing good, more power to him. But you're right. This is a good offense. Obviously, they would rather throw the ball than run the ball, and I'm happy about that because I think our defensive backs and safeties and corners, I feel like they are great. And I feel like that's one of our shining parts of our defense is the defensive backs, and I feel like we're going to have a good game this season against them. But yeah, I mean, like I said, you better come ready for a fight because they will be swinging.
Yeah, looking at Louisiana Tech defensively, they are averaging, allowing 22.67 points per game. Their leading tackler is linebacker Colby Fields. He has 63 total tackles and 1.5 sacks. Their second leading tackler is linebacker Zach Zimos. He has 53 total tackles and a half a sack. And then their leading sack man is defensive lineman David Blay. Has 31 total tackles and 3 sacks on the season. That does lead the team. Again, kind of a defense that's similar to ours, and it has very spread out as far as tackles. They don't have a lot of interceptions and forced turnovers. Being at -6 on the turnover margin, that definitely is not helping them over the course of the season. But allowing 22.67 points per game, that'll keep you in a lot of ball games. If you can score 30, you're going to win most of your games. But that's kind of been their Achilles heels, that inconsistency on offense and just how many points they can produce. So, Tyler, what are your thoughts on this Louisiana Tech defense and how tough they may be to score points against?
Well, they did take Jack State to overtime. Now, granted, Jack State beat them. Close game there. But really, if you look at the rest of their schedule, let's see, they won against UTEP 14-10. They won against MTSU 48-21. Lost at Tulsa 23-20. North Carolina State 30-20. So obviously they are holding teams to lower points. Sam Houston, they lost there 9-3. That's a weird score, but football can be weird sometimes. But yeah, they lost to Jack State 44-37. So they may be kicking it on now at the right time. But I feel like our offense, we have enough weapons. We have a great quarterback, great receiving core, great rushing back, or great running core, stable at running backs. I feel like our offense should be able to handle them handedly. I'm just worried about that third quarter lull, as you said in the recap, and I hope we don't have that again in this game.
Yeah, their loss to Jacksonville State, they were in the driver's seat coming down to the end of regulation and had every chance to do us a favor and put a loss on Jacksonville State, where we're tied with them for the current conference lead at 5-0. We both are. Jacksonville State was able to throw a Hail Mary and send that game to overtime with no time. They caught that ball, went into overtime, and won that ball game. So just a crazy end, and I think that's kind of a microcosm of the season for Louisiana Tech. They just inconsistent, can't close out, can't defend, what should be a 101 Hail Mary type play. You let one wide receiver get behind the group and, just catch an easy pass and then, lose that ball game. So it is what it is. We still control our destiny, like we've said. We can't expect other teams to do us favor, but man, that was a heck of a ball game. And just losing Tech, they've shown they can play spoiler. They can be right up there with the the top of the conference, even though their 3 wins are basically versus FCS, UTEP, Middle Tennessee, and I forget who that first opponent was, but basically FCS opponents are their 3 victories so far this season. So we just need to hold serve at home, homecoming, take care of the ball, and obviously outscore them. So that leads us right into our keys to victory. Tyler, what is your first key to victory versus Louisiana Tech?
I'm going to reuse one I used last week. Start fast, man. If you come out and you start putting points on the board early, you start getting turnovers early, which is going to lead me into another one later. But if you are able to put a lot more points on the board, it kind of takes all the momentum from them. And it's just harder for them to come back, especially playing on the road.
Yeah, I think starting fast is a must. I think the offensive ability that we've shown is that we can go out and score points. We can play tempo. We can jump out and score a lot of points quickly. And we've done that several ball games this year. And I think that puts us in good position for the rest of the game. It's what we do from there on out that kind of dictates our success in that game and for our season, win or lose. So we have to continue that trend, come out. We can't dig a hole and be behind early in any game, but especially our homecoming game. We need to jump out and start early. What is your second key to victory versus Louisiana Tech?
Well, seeing how this team is they want to pass the ball, and they have gave up 31 sacks on the season. My second one's going to be live in the backfield. I want that quarterback, Evan, Evan Bullock, if he's out there starting or he's playing the entire game, I want him to feel pressure on the majority of the
snaps.
There you go. Sorry. Sorry. Definitely. I want him to feel pressure on the majority of the snaps. Because, I feel like if you do that, it forces him to either take the sack, which only going to help us, or it's going to force him into throwing a pass that we can easily intercept.
Yeah, mine is unintentionally kind of piggybacking off yours, and it's something we've excelled at the last 2-3 seasons, and something we excelled at last game is we have to capitalize on turnovers. I think this team and their turnover margin and having a freshman quarterback and being susceptible to sacks. Tyson Summers does a really good job at designing, complicated and intricate blitz packages that come from a lot of different angles. And we know that they're a team that wants to pass the ball. They're going to drop back and be in 3 and 5 set drops to let plays develop. That's going to let our defensive line and our blitzers kind of pin their ear back and go get into the backfield and make plays, like you said. And then when we apply that pressure, hopefully make their quarterback throw a bad pass or an errant pass, or a sack fumble, or just one of our defensive backs jump the route and get an interception. So I really like our ability and our opportunity to force a young quarterback and a turnover-prone team to give the ball back to us and, give our offense a short field, which is always advantageous to us. So what's your third key to victory versus Louisiana Tech?
I like to say drawback was the word I was looking for, not snaps, but I appreciate your assist anyway. My third one's going to be, and I'm going to use this one from the Kennesaw State recap that we did. Don't let them hang around. Cannot let these guys hang around because they only got 3 wins on season. The first one against Nichols, they definitely want to get to bowl eligibility. We got to try to stop them from getting there. So they are going to be hungry. They're going to be, like I said earlier, fighting. So we cannot let them hang around or even keep it semi-close. We need to blow these guys out the water.
Yeah, I expect us to jump out early and take control of this game. My third key to victory is going to be avoid the third quarter lull, which is basically what you said. Don't let them hang around. Don't give them blood in the water. Like, oh, we can chip away at this thing, get close, hang around, and maybe steal this at the end. We have to keep that pressure, apply that pressure, run the score up on them. We're playing for a championship. We're not playing to preserve their feelings. Sonny Cumbie's on his way out the door. Win, lose, or draw in this ball game, we might as well send him out peacefully and put it in the back of his head and send him out to pasture. So score all the points. That third quarter lull cannot happen. Take care of business. It's homecoming. Should be a decent crowd, decent weather for a mid-November ball game. So really looking forward to it. Tyler, who is your MVT, your most valuable topper for this Hilltopper victory?
You already know it's probably going to be, or it is going to be Caden Velkamp for me. I was thinking about changing it up, going with a running back, going with a wide receiver, heck, maybe even a defensive player. But no, I'm going to have to go with Caden Velkamp. I feel like if he comes out, he is accurate with his passes. He makes smart choices whenever he decides to run the ball, tuck and run it. I feel like he is the field general, and it all kind of rides with him, man.
Yeah, it's Caden Velkamp for me too. I think we've seen a lot of growth and progression in him as quarterback one as this season has progressed. Really happy and impressed with him. A couple interceptions last game, forcing the issue a couple times and putting it into some tight windows that turned into interceptions. Luckily, it didn't come back to bite us. Would like to see that cleaned up moving forward, obviously. But he is still a relatively young starting quarterback. But I think we see that continued growth every single start. And he just has big playability. He's a good leader. He's a good teammate. The team and offense rallies around him. We all saw the news today in the press conference. TJ Finley's back. He's practicing. He's eligible. He's dressed. He can play in these ball games if needed. But Tyson Helton has fully endorsed Caden Velkamp. He is the starter moving forward. He's not being shadowed by TJ Finley. He's earned that spot, that position. So I'm here for it. I have full faith in Caden Velkamp. I'm happy he's the starter. We both were on that train before the season started. It could be either one of these guys. We're gonna be fine. Caden Velkamp has proved his weight in gold, that he is a solid starter for WKU. So I'm happy for him, and he is going to lead us to this victory and several more before this season ends. What about your score prediction? Are you sticking with the preseason score? Or are you going to mix it up? What you got?
Dang. My preseason was 38-28 tops win. After looking at these numbers that they've had this entire season, I'm going to give them 17 points, and we're going to hold them below our season average. And I think we're going to score. It's going to be more than 38. It's going to be more than 41. I think we're going to score 44 points in this game. It's going to be more, not a lot more, but I feel like a defense going to hold them. Offense going to have some letdowns like we have been seeing recently. Prove me wrong, please. So put me 44-20 or to 44-17.
I'm going to stick with my preseason score prediction, and that was 41-21. I think that's our offense continuing to get above 40, which I think we can do. We have proven that a couple times this season. And then the defense, 21. I'll take it. We've held opponents on average to 15 to 16 points in conference play, but giving up 21 points against this team that's a little bit more pass heavy, prolific. Maybe that's a garbage time touchdown to trim that down to a 20-point deficit for them. But I feel really good about this team and this performance, and I think we're going to pull away and win this game pretty convincingly. I'm excited for it. I'm here for it. I can't wait for homecoming. It's always a good week on the Hill. Thankfully, the weather, even for a mid-November game, is low of 41 rather, high of 60. It will be sunny. Still going to be a nice day. Kegs and eggs. Wake up early, 8 o'clock, and start getting ready. Get to campus. It's going to be buzzing. It's going to be a good time. Should be a good crowd. Maybe not a sellout, but I think we should be pushing 18,000. Homecoming should be solid. Really looking forward to it. Should be good energy. Should be a good team mindset, just that championship mentality that we have to have coming down the stretch of the season. Control our destiny, win this ball game, and then look forward to Liberty and Jacksonville State to close out the season. But one game at a time. Louisiana Tech, you just happen to be next on the list. The Reaper is coming to knock on your door. It's your time. I'm sorry. But, man, I'm looking forward to it and excited for the season coming down to an end here. Tyler, hit us with your final words and take us on out.
All right, so before I say goodbye to everybody in Hilltopper Nation, I'd like to say a special thank you. Since we are recording this on 11/11, I would like to say thank you to all the veterans out there who have served this country, and you've done what the other ones of us have not been able to do, and I just want to say thank you for all the sacrifice you and your family have made as a service member. I have friends who are veterans, and I'm sure most people know people who have served this country honorably. And I just want to say a big thank you from me and Moth, I'm sure as you as well. But no, homecoming week's always a great week. A lot of activities going on. Should be a great time on the Hill Saturday. I hate the 11 o'clock kickoff. I wish we could change that, get that later. Just, kegs and eggs turn into cakes and eggs and then breakfast and, a lot of more drinking, a lot more people was able to have fun. I do like how you are going with the over on the total for the game. Total's 52.5 points. Yours is going to be in the 60s. So I feel like it's probably going to be a high scoring game for us. And with what they do, will definitely kick us over that 52.5 point total. But no, I mean, this is one of the highlights of Western football is homecoming. Hopefully a lot of people show up. You just don't stay at the tailgate, make your way into the stadium because the game will be worth it. These players obviously deserve people putting eyes on them and celebrating whenever we make a big play or make a big win. Plus, Zombieland's always better to see in person than watching in a highlight video if you did make it to the game. So, yeah, Moff, who has a better than us, man?
Nobody, buddy. You always know it.
Go Tops.
Go Tops, guys. Later.
Go Tops.